Kaima wasn't the type to fall easily. Beautiful, sharp-tongued, and emotionally guarded, she believed men were only good for two things: stress and stories. So when her best friend Chisholm dragged her to a rooftop party in Lekki that Friday night, the last thing she expected was to meet him. Dante. Fine boy with dangerous dimples, full beard, tall like a prince, and eyes that looked like they were hiding thunderstorms. He didn't flirt. He didn't chase. He just watched her, like he had known her before. And that was the beginning of her mistake. "Relax, it's just a hookup," Chisholm whispered as they danced. But the moment Kaima brushed shoulders with Dante, something cold crawled up her spine. His touch was warm, too warm. His smile was gentle, too gentle. And yet, her spirit shook. He leaned in. "I've been waiting for you," he said. She laughed it off. Lagos men and their lines. But his eyes didn't look like he was joking. An hour later, they were alone on the balcony, talking like people who had known each other for lifetimes. She felt seen, too seen, and that scared her more than anything. Still, she followed him home. And that was the second mistake. Dante's house was quiet. Too quiet. The lights flickered as she entered. The air felt heavy, thick, like something was watching her. But Dante's voice was soothing, hypnotic. "Don't worry, Kaima. You're safe here." She didn't remember telling him her name. When they kissed, the room grew colder. When he held her, she felt a strange vibration under his skin, like something breathing. They were about to go further when she noticed something terrifying. He had no shadow. She froze. The lamp behind him was bright, but the wall behind him was blank, no silhouette, no outline, nothing. Her heart slammed into her chest. "Dante, why don't you have a shadow?" He smiled softly, sadly. "I told you. I've been waiting for you." She tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move. Dante touched her forehead and suddenly, her vision blurred. The room dissolved. And she saw herself in another time, another life. A village by the river. A wedding night. A young maiden, her past self, running into the arms of a forbidden lover. A lover who wasn't human. A spirit prince exiled from the underworld. Dante. In that lifetime, she had promised him forever. She broke the promise. He died for loving her. And now, he had found her again. Kaima snapped back to the present with tears running down her face. "You're not real," she whispered. "I'm real to you," he replied. "But I cannot stay in this realm unless you choose me again." Suddenly, the walls began to whisper. Cold hands brushed her shoulders. The room throbbed with unseen energies. Shadows, his shadows, began to swirl around her like smoke. He stepped closer. "Say yes, Kaima. Choose me this time." She shook violently. "No. I didn't come here for this. It was just a hookup." His face changed instantly, hurt, anger, heartbreak all mixed together. "Don't call it just a hookup," he said, voice shaking. "Not when your soul has belonged to mine for centuries." The air turned icy. Her breath fogged. The spirit shadows wrapped around her throat. Kaima screamed. A scream that shook the room, shook the air, shook her soul. Then, everything went black. She woke up in her own bed. Her clothes were neatly folded. Her jewelry was arranged on her dresser. Her body was sore, but not in a physical way, more like something had been pulled out of her. Chisholm rushed in. "Oh, Kaima. Where did you disappear to last night? I thought something happened to you." Kaima opened her mouth to speak, but then she saw it. On her neck. A mark. A glowing, crescent-shaped scar, like a spirit's fingerprint. She touched it and felt an electric pulse. Then she heard it. His voice. Soft. Inside her ear. I'll come for you again, when the moon dies. Her heart stopped. This wasn't over. This was never just a hookup. It was the beginning of a spiritual debt, one she didn't remember creating, but one she would have to repay. That night, Kaima didn't sleep. The crescent-shaped mark on her neck glowed faintly in the darkness. Like a silent eye watching her. Each time she touched it, a cold breeze swept through her room. Even though the windows were closed. Chisholm slept beside her, snoring softly, unaware. But Kaima couldn't rest. She kept hearing things. Soft footsteps. Whispers. A low hum, like a spirit chanting her name. At 3:13 a.m., the mirror on her wall fogged by itself and a handprint appeared. Not human. Too long. Too thin. Too cold. She ran out of the room screaming. By morning, Kaima was shaking uncontrollably. Everywhere she went, shadows moved on their own. Her reflection blinked when she didn't. Phones around her glitched. Street dogs barked violently whenever she passed. Something was following her. Something tied to Dante. At work, she tried to forget everything. But as she typed, her computer screen suddenly went black. Then words appeared on it, slowly, like someone was typing from the other side. You promised me forever. Kaima screamed and fell from her chair. Her coworkers thought it was stress. But she knew this was spiritual. Kaima, this thing is not ordinary, Chisholm said, holding her shaking hands. We are going to my prophet. Today. The church they entered was small, dimly lit, and smelled of incense. Prophet Ikena, a man with eerie calmness, stared at Kaima before they even explained anything. You slept with something that doesn't belong to this world, he said quietly. A spirit lover, a prince of the river realm. Kaima's heart slammed into her ribs. No. I didn't know. I didn't ask for any of this. But your soul did, the prophet cut in. In a past life. And now he wants you back. He placed his hand on the glowing mark. Kaima screamed, the pain was unbearable. The prophet staggered backward. This is not ordinary, he whispered. This mark, it's a claim. He has already chosen you. Kaima burst into tears. Chisholm held her tightly. Can it be broken? She cried. Can I be free? The prophet hesitated, a long, heavy silence. Only if you reject him, completely. How? Kaima asked. Face him. The room suddenly became ice cold. The candles blew out. A whisper echoed through the church. She belongs to me. The prophet dropped his staff. Chisholm screamed. The spirit prince had arrived. Dante didn't walk into the church. He formed there. A swirl of shadows and faint moonlight gathering into a human shape. He looked the same, yet different. More regal. More dangerous. More sorrowful. Kaima, he said, his voice shaking the windows. Why are you running from me? The prophet shouted, Spirit of the river realm, return to your world. Dante flicked his fingers. The prophet was thrown across the room like a feather. Chisholm dropped to her knees, crying. Kaima stepped backward until her back hit the wall. Dante, stop. Please. He stepped closer, eyes glowing silver. You think this is about lust, he said softly. You think this is about a night of passion. No, Kaima, no. He held out his hand. A golden ring, ancient, glowing, appeared. You were my wife, he whispered. In the life before this one. You vowed to return to me. You vowed never to love anyone else. Kaima shook her head, crying. I don't remember. I didn't know. I'm not that person anymore. His voice cracked. But I am? Dante's shadow circled Kaima's legs gently, like lovers. I don't want to hurt you, he whispered. I want you back, willingly. The prophet, weak and bleeding, groaned from the corner. Don't accept anything he offers, he gasped. Dante glared at him. Silence. He turned back to Kaima. I will give you time, he said. 7 days. 7 nights. Choose me, or I will take you. Kaima froze. What do you mean, take me? His eyes softened, beautiful, haunting. You will not die. But you will not live here anymore. A spiritual abduction. A mystical marriage. A soul transfer. Kaima's blood ran cold. Dante leaned in and kissed her forehead. Her entire body shook. The mark on her neck burned like fire. Then, he vanished. Just wind. Just shadows. Just silence. Kaima collapsed on the church floor, sobbing. 7 days. 7 nights. Before the spirit husband returns for her. The prophet struggled to sit up. Child, we must prepare, he whispered. This fight will not be ordinary. Kaima wiped her tears. The countdown had begun. Kaima didn't sleep the first night. But eventually her eyes closed. And she found herself standing by a river glowing under a blood-red moon. Dante appeared beside her, dressed like royalty. A crown of silver bones on his head. Welcome home, he whispered. She stepped back. Let me go. He smiled sadly. You can run in dreams, but dreams are still my kingdom. The water behind him rose like a giant hand. As if urging her to step in. Kaima screamed herself awake. Her bed was soaked with water. Not sweat. River water. The first sign that Dante's realm was crossing into hers. Emika. Her coworker. Kind. Funny. Always looked at her like she hung the moon. He noticed her trembling hands at work. Kaima, what's wrong? Talk to me. She wanted to tell him. Wanted someone, anyone, to help her. But when she opened her mouth, a cold wind blew through the office. A voice whispered in her ear. Do not tell him. Her throat closed up. Tears streamed down her face. Emika moved closer, gently wiping her cheek. I don't know what's going on, but I won't let anything hurt you. Something shifted in Kaima's chest. And somewhere in the unseen realms. Dante felt it. Prophet Ikena began the cleansing. Candles. Chalk. Incense. Ancient prayers. The moment he drew a circle of protection around her, the church doors burst open. A windstorm roared inside. Candles flew. Benches shattered. Windows cracked. A figure formed from swirling black smoke. Dante. His voice echoed like thunder. Why do you fight me? Kaima screamed. Chisholm fainted. The prophet held his staff, shouting prayers. Dante's shadow lunged at the prophet and ripped the staff from his hand, snapping it like a twig. 7 days, Dante growled. Don't force me to take her early. He vanished. But he left something behind. A dead bird on the altar. Its eyes still glowing silver. A warning. Emika insisted on driving her home after work. I don't know what's happening, he said. But I feel like something is trying to take you from this world. Kaima broke down and hugged him. But as soon as his arms wrapped around her, a violent wind slammed into the car. The horn blared. The doors locked. The temperature dropped to freezing. The radio turned on by itself. A deep voice humming. Dante's hum. Emika couldn't breathe. His throat tightened like invisible hands were strangling him. Kaima screamed, Stop. Please. The wind stopped. The car unlocked. But Emika coughed blood. Dante had sent a clear message. He is not allowed to touch what is mine. Prophet Ikena returned with an ancient relic. A mirror said to reveal a spirit's true form. He told Kaima, "If Dante appears again, show him this." That night, Dante came. Not violently. Not angrily. Softly. He appeared in her room wearing the same clothes he died in centuries ago. Blood-stained. Torn. Broken. Kaima, why must you choose pain over destiny? She lifted the mirror with trembling hands. Dante flinched. But instead of turning monstrous, he turned beautiful. His true form wasn't a demon. He was a fallen prince. Exiled for loving a human. He reached for her. Every lifetime, I search for you. And every lifetime, you run. Tears streamed down Kaima's face. Maybe because we were never meant to be, she whispered. His expression shattered. The room trembled. On the seventh night, you will choose, he said. One last time. He disappeared, and the mirror cracked in her hand. The barrier between realms broke. The prophet was preparing the final ritual. But that night, Kaima dreamed again. This time, she saw her past life clearly. She was the one who betrayed Dante. She promised to marry him at the river altar. Then fled with a mortal man. Dante was executed by spirit elders because of her. And with his dying breath, he cursed his soul to always return for her. Kaima woke up shaking violently. She wasn't innocent. She wasn't a victim. She started this. The final night arrived. The prophet drew the circle. Chisholm held candles. Emeka showed up even though he was warned. Dante appeared at exactly midnight. But this time, he didn't look angry. He looked done. Kaima, he said softly. This is not a choice between me and freedom. Then what is it? She whispered. It's a choice between remembering the truth. Or pretending you never had a soul tied to mine. He stepped into the circle. Something a spirit prince should not be able to do. The prophet gasped. Dante wasn't fighting. He was surrendering. I release you, Dante whispered. The mark on Kaima's neck burned, then darkened, then vanished. Chisholm screamed in relief. The prophet dropped to his knees. But Kaima? She began to cry. Because the moment the bond broke, she felt something in her chest collapse. Her soul went cold. Too cold. She looked at Dante. He was fading. Slowly. Painfully. Wait, Dante, no. He smiled gently. This time, I choose your freedom. He touched her cheek. And I let myself go. His body dissolved into silver dust. His voice lingered. In another life, if you want me, find me. And then he was gone. Forever.